Hello, everybody. It's a bit of an unusual start for us today. I'm sorry for being 3 minutes. Oh,
I am here.
we have a Susie. You are here. Panic over. 3 minutes. Can you turn me down a little bit there, Susie? Have you turned me down?
A bit.
Okay.
Oh, I know. Hang on. I'll be back.
All right, everybody. So sorry for this, but we had a somewhat of a technical snafu, and we normally what we do before we go live. We normally have 5 minutes with the actor before we go live to make sure that they can hear me and whatever. And for whatever reason, I couldn't see Susie waiting in the waiting room. So in effect, you've got 5 minutes extra, which is the bit where we sort all these technical snafus out and stuff. So nice to see you, Mr. Everton. Also you, Lisa de Brule. Lillian, you've joined us. Hello, Lillian. I'm admitting people as we go. Obviously, Susie's just going to sort something out somewhere. So good to see everybody a little bit later for this Dumteedum extra. Yes, Lisa, I know you're a little bit tired. It is later, but I hope everybody's got something to fortify them for the next hour plus of Dumteedum / Archers entertainment. So I'm just going to have a look at the handsome faces that we have. Helen Mormont. Hello, Helen. How are you? Wave to you. Jane Fort. I think we spoke before, but hello, Jane. Hello, Mia Fox again. Titian from Gloucestershire. Hello, Rosemary Granger. You're new to me, Rosemary. Yes, I'm waving at you, Pat. Here you are in Cincinnati. No, Cleveland, sorry. Hello, my Pat. Hello, Carla over there in Ontario, in Canada. You're waving. Smalley Smiley. You look new. Thank you. Hi. Hello, Sarah Evans, Spider-Woman. Hello. Let's see who else we have before we start. Hello, Lynn Nicholson. Francesca World Salad. Francesca has been waiting online since 10 to 7 for this, not realizing that I very clearly said, and it says on the invite, that we're starting later today. So hello, everybody. I believe that our Susie is just about ready. I'm going to go and find her.
I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very clearly.
Good.
You've been a mother, right? It's put the cat amongst the pigeons today. It's
sorry.
We started later. There's all these Dumteedummers logging on at 7 o'clock saying, well, it's 7 o'clock. There's no Archers, but there must be some Dumteedum action on Zoom. And they didn't read the memo, did they, Susie? They got there an hour and 45 minutes early.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to put my children to bed. It takes absolutely bloody ages. So sorry, guys.
You are here now, and we thank you. And we've spoken a few times, but I still feel that, like, even though you've been on this as as Tracy now, Susie, since 2011, it still feels incredibly new, really, doesn't it? Well, it does for us as listeners. How does it feel for you? Because when you came in, you weren't exactly a regular, were you?
No, I think I was in it kind of once a year.
So did you get a memo from on high basically saying, right, we're going to turn up the wick on Tracy Horrobin, we're going to have much more of her?
Well, Jeremy, the new, new. I mean, he feels really new as well, but he's been doing it for nearly 2 years. Had said to me when we spoke, when I went in for my one episode a year, that he liked the character of Tracy, but that's all he said. And then suddenly, Tracy is annoying everybody every month.
So. What do you think it is about Tracy which is so touched a nerve not only with the listeners, but also importantly with the writers?
Well, sometimes I see on Twitter that Tracy sort of says the things that people are thinking, that listeners are thinking. I think that's partly what people like about her, but also that writers like, because she could just say what everyone else is actually thinking without any kind of concern for her own, I don't know, shame.
I think you're right. 10 plus years ago, Ian, the character of
Cheers,
Ian.
everyone, by the way. I need this wine.
10 plus years ago, the character of Ian actually was the moral compass of the show. Kirsty is the ethical centre of the show. At least she was. We'll soon see how that goes when she discovers what her intended is being up to. But you are the unfiltered voice of the show, aren't you? That's basically the whole point of Tracy. No filter, says what she thinks.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, she does care. I think it was a few weeks ago before lockdown hit Ambridge, and I think it was Roy had asked something about where Emma was going, and Tracy had said it's not my place to say, and she can keep her counsel. So I think that's a good thing about her as well. She knows when to keep her trap shut as well, and she's loyal.
She's absolutely is loyal.
Fiercely.
I think the other thing, which, because she's such a force of nature fundamentally, I think the one thing which you don't really realize is actually how kind she actually is. You know, she's shown great kindness towards her niece Emma, and she is actually there.
Yeah, she's definitely. If she's on your side, you know, you're all right. And I don't think she's never malicious, and she's never takes against people for no reason. There's always a good reason behind it. I think she's got a strong sense of justice. And I share that with her. I think that's a characteristic I can strongly associate myself with. But the being unfiltered bit, no. I wish, God, you just wish you could just say what you think about everybody at any point. It'd be great, and not worried.
Do you think you've actually acted your way into Tracy being more than just an occasional?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think the character was always appealing, and I'm not really, because she was quite prominent at the start. I mean, to be honest, I just think Sean O'Connor didn't like her very much, because that was the years when you didn't hear Tracy at all. I actually never met Sean. He was never in at all when he was editor. I think, so I don't know what I did to offend him, but he just didn't use her. And then Hugh came in, and then there was the bits with Roy that I really enjoyed. And I love that fact that that's still kind of, not that she didn't want to go for Roy anymore, but that history is still there, and especially in his attitude towards her, which I like.
She has had a little. She kind of liked a certain kind of cricket coach, and am I misremembering? But didn't you make half of a pass at Will, or did Will misconstrue it?
Oh yeah, Will thought Tracy sent him a Valentine's card.
Oh, that was
but it was actually Mia.
Yeah.
No, she wouldn't go. For Will.
I was going to say Will Grundy, please. Ooh.
No, I think she doesn't. Yeah, no.
All right.
Not going there. No, my God. I mean, her niece was married it would just be horribly awkward.
Yeah. Oh,
And she
good.
thinks
Yes,
he's a bit
of
weird.
course, of course.
So,
It was Will misconstruing the Valentine's card. Okay, right. So
don't bandy that rumour about, please, Royfield.
let's go back very slightly to the construct of Tracy, right? So she's a Horrobin, which the Horrobins are supposed to be utterly the bottom of the pile, you know. The Grundys are a nanomillimeter slightly above the Horrobins. Okay. How did you approach creating Tracy, the voice and the mannerisms, etc.?
Well, it's thinking back to kind of 2011. I think you construct the character from what you're given on the page, really, in the first instance. I mean, I was told she was Susan's sister, and I'm a listener to the Archers, and I knew obviously knew who Susan was, and that family, and actually when I was in it years ago, I actually was held up in the post office by Clive Horrobin. So that's a bit weird. But I think largely you take what's written on the page, and then you the character comes from there and from the direction you're given in the first instance, I think. And then as time goes on, and your relationships with other characters form, and I think I think the writers and the production team are very aware of characters that fit together nicely. When there's, you might have a scene with someone you haven't had seen before, and you go, oh, that really works. This pairing, and I think that's kind of happened with maybe Tracy and Linda and Tracy and Oliver. And once if you start,
but Susie, I need to jump in.
Go on.
Tracy works with everybody though, because you wouldn't have put Tracy and Oliver Sterling together.
I think it's opposite to attract, though, isn't it? It's opposite to attract.
But then similars attract. You work when you're with your sister. You know, with Susan, the character works with everybody, apart from Will Grundy, very obviously.
Yeah, they've not really had. I think they've had one scene together, and it didn't go. No, two. him being rude to her, and then him apologising. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how she'd, her and Justin hanging out would go. I think they've had one scene as well. That would be interesting.
Well, he's admonished her a few. There was a time when he admonished her at, when she's been somewhat derelict at her job on reception. But there's been like great affection.
Yeah.
So let's kind of break her down, because I think you're underselling yourself here. You're saying it's kind of the direction that you get, and it's in effect the words on the piece of paper. But she has a voice. She has an accent which isn't Susie Riddell's, is it? So,
well, no, but that's just me doing that.
But what are you actually doing when you do her voice?
Well, I mean, there's a kind of forcefulness to her, and there's a force of energy which I think comes across in her voice. Because actually doing the monologues has been quite an interesting process for all of us, for all the cast who've done it so far, because it really kind of zones the character right in. You've got to kind of it's very exposing, I think, as an actor to do a monologue. So we're all like, yeah, we're up for doing this, and then suddenly you get in front of the mic and you go, oh my gosh, okay, right, it's just me. There is no Oliver, there is no Linda helping me out right now. So all of our voices and the character voices are coming through in a much stronger way, I think. And I don't mean they're all kind of rattling around. I think it's the essence of the characters are kind of having to come through the microphone. I think there's that. I think she just attacks everything, and I think that's partly where the voice comes from. She just goes for it. I
think it's really interesting that you talk about the monologues and, you know, there aren't other actors to help you out.
It's scary.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because I said this on Dumteedum. So I found the very first episode with David and Josh. I thought it was 25 minutes long. Right, I did. And Tim Bentinck is obviously an accomplished actor. And I think one of the problems which us listeners are having with the new format is that it's just new. There's just that whoa, you go,
oh
whoa.
God, totally. I mean, change. I mean, this whole bloody thing's been awful, hasn't it?
It has. But,
when will it end?
And I think also, specifically, if we deal with the Monday, last week's episode, before we come on to your Tuesday, if you're a seasoned Archers watcher of any vintage, like, you know that David and Josh have a little bit of a beef, right? Or a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And it's just, maybe it's just generational, whatever, right? But we're still getting to know Tracy, and the listeners don't particularly know Harrison that well.
No.
So it was incredibly refreshing to have our ears assaulted by thoughts which we weren't necessarily privy to. And your episode felt much pacier, felt much lighter than the previous day.
I think it was an essentially lighter episode. I mean, James, who plays Harrison, is a fantastic actor and fantastic comedian, and I think I was listening. I hadn't heard. We'd never hear the episodes ever before they go out, and we certainly hadn't heard any of this stuff. And I was just laughing out loud at all of Harrison's stuff because he's so natural as well. But I think essentially they are that whole storyline was a comic storyline, very different, I think, from mood and tone from the David and Josh episodes. And I actually think that's what's lovely about the whole monologue format, is that each character brings their own tone, and each episode will have its own personality. Because, you know, once you're going to get Lillian at some point. I think it might be next week. Is it? Is Lillian and Justin next week? But you know, I think Lillian is you're going to have a laugh, aren't you? You know, you're going to have a laugh, and I think that each character has got their own, I don't know, the essence that they bring, and I would be surprised to have a kind of highly comic David episode. I don't know about the rest of you. Would you be anticipating?
But they did try to make it light to a degree by having the whole lasagna thing in. But I know but
that's gentle. It's a gentle, family-oriented. Whereas with Tracy and with Harrison, you can kind of go full on. You can really go for comedy.
How does the direction specifically work on those monologue episodes? And good wine, is it?
Not really. It's disgusting, actually. But you know, I'm locked down in a house with a 5-year-old and a 22-month-old. I need help.
All right. Well, hopefully we're a little bit of respite then.
You are.
How exactly does the direction work with this new format?
Well, you've got for my case, I'm sat in my kid's bedroom with the mattress and the clothes rail, and it's quite nice because I can kind of breathe and I've got natural daylight. In my old house, because we only just moved house just before this all happened, and I actually used to have a cupboard in the bedroom. It was built in. It was over the stairwell, and it was genuinely the size of a single wardrobe. And I set it up. I put foam in there, and I put a little shelf in there when we first moved in, kind of 6-7 years ago, and a stool. And I would lock myself in there and record audiobooks, and almost suffocate to death because it was just this tight space with no oxygen. So it's much nicer in the new setup, other than the fact that it's the kids' bedroom, which is slightly awkward. And then you've got your microphone, and I've got unplugged into the laptop and everything. and then I've got the sound engineer talking to me and the director as well. And so we run through the whole, we'd run through every single scene in one go, so that we kind of get a sense of the shape of it. And then we'll do each scene as a on its own. And just like in studio, you do 1 or 2, 3 takes, or maybe go over it was well in this setup you might have to redo something because there was a lawnmower, or you heard a dog barking, or my daughter's come into the room and I've had to tell her to go away, so you might have to go over something again, and you just do it like that, and the directors are great at being able to shape it, because that's with this format there's got to be some kind of give and take. And I think I've just listened to in fact I've got 1 minute left of yesterday's episode to listen to because I got interrupted earlier. 1 minute, but I've heard all the others, and I think there was such a beautiful shape to this week's, all of them, and a really lovely atmosphere and tone, and there was comedy and it was moving. I thought it was great. I really thought they were fantastic. Yeah.
Do you feel, obviously you're recording by yourself, but is it harder? And yes, you've got the technician in your ear, and yes, you've got the director in your ear, but is it harder because you've got nobody to bounce against? Or is this every actor's dream in that you have the stage all to yourself?
I think, well, it's a challenge, and it's fun to have the opportunities to do these monologues, especially as they're characters we know really well. I think it'd be more nerve-wracking if it was like, right, okay, Susie, you're going to play this, this lady who really wants to be cricket captain, and I'm like, okay, and not having any sense of who she is, but we know them really well now. It's different. We're all desperate to get back to studio and be all together again, and have that the give and take of the scenes.
But Susie, come on though, like, you actors, you all want the limelight, don't you?
Really, I want more of them. More.
This is like, wow.
It's certainly nice to be asked to do it, yeah, and because not everybody can, not everyone's able to, not because they're not very good, but because they might not have the access to the or the confidence to use the equipment. So I think that is a shame, and also because, well, you guys know there are flipping hundreds of characters as well. And I mean, I'm really hoping that this doesn't go on long enough that you get to hear them all. I mean, I'm sorry, the people who haven't done one yet, but I'd like it to finish so that everything can kind of start to go back to normal a bit, because otherwise we'd be here, I don't know, how long would it take to get around them all? 2 years?
Well, I think active characters, Kerry did tell me this once. Kerry Davis did tell me this.
Did he? Is it 60 or something?
No, it's more than that.
Oh, it's 100.
Very obviously, there's some active characters that haven't been in it for years.
Oh, okay.
But it's just under 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just under 100.
So it would take a long time if you're only hearing, say, 4 or 5 a week. Yeah. So
now
let's not go there.
Susie Riddell, before we come on to storylines that you loved being a part of, right. I hope you've got pencil and paper ready, because it's time for the Dumteedum quiz. I can see Brian.
I love a quiz. Let me get some paper.
For his piece of paper there. So there you go. You go and get your piece of paper. I hope everybody, you are all primed for this. And just whilst we wait for our Susie to come back, hello, Quentin Rayner. So sorry, Quentin, that I didn't see your message early enough, but at least you're here to give you the right credentials. I know I'm dreadful. Hello, Dusty. Lovely to see you again. Hello, Nina. Head down, head up the focus. Thank you, Nina. And
hello, everybody, by the way. Didn't even get to say hello. It was all like, boom. Hello. It's so nice to see all your faces.
Right, so folks, it is time for the Dumteedum quiz. The now infamous.
I'm using an Archer's script.
Hey,
yeah. In fact,
can you show us the front of it? Can you?
No, because this is just no, I can't.
We
I haven't got
won't
them down
say
here.
anything. We
And
won't.
I can't
say
even show you
anything.
this because this is you haven't heard it yet.
Oh, well, we won't tell anyone, will we?
Oh,
Yokel Bear, shake your head. We won't tell anyone, will we, Yokel Bear? She shows us. There you go. You can trust Yokel Bear. All right, folks. So it's the Dumteedum quiz. First off, it's always the picture round. Now, quite simply, you look at this and what do you see? Okay, folks. Now I'm going to slightly move this one over. Oh, gosh. Well, you know what? Tough. If you don't know your Kipling. Now, quite simply, what do you see? This is an Archer's thing or person. Brian is nodding sagely, saying, I've got this. This is easy, right? This is an Archer's thing or person. Yokel Bear's got it too. He's nodding while he chews on his chewing gum. He's like, oh, even Susie's like, thumbs up, got this. All right, okay. Second one. This is an Archer's thing or person. Now, I don't think this is particularly hard. I'm looking at you, Morgan, NYNY. Focus, please, sir. I don't know if that was rioters you were listening to walking down Fifth Avenue or something or another. But like, yeah, over here, please. This is an Archer's thing or person. What do you see here? What is this Archer's thing or person? Now, because the first two, I think, were gimmies, as our transatlantic cousins would say, I've made this one maybe a little bit harder. But this is, I'm going to tell you, this is not a person. That is another clue I'm giving you. What are you looking at here? This is frequently mentioned on our favorite docudrama. What do we see here, folks? Remember, we will come back to these later. But what do we see here? Now, seasoned watchers of Dumteedum Does Zoom know, they've seen evidence that I'm a functioning dyslexic. I have forgotten to check grammar and spelling on these. I did these first thing this morning, and I've done so many other bits of work today I've forgotten to check. So we're in the valley of the blind here in terms of you understanding what I've written, but I'm going to make sense out of it. Susie Riddell, Tracy Horrobin. What year did Susie first appear on The Archers? Was it 2009, 1999, as in Space 1999, one of my favorite shows as a kid, or 1989? What year did Susie first appear on The Archers? 2009, 1999, 1989. The year when I was a house DJ and played in the Zap Club in Brighton. Remember it well. Whoop, whoop. That was me. Tracy, forget the E on the word Tracy. Tracy is now the cricket captain of Ambridge. By how many votes did she win the election? Was it 2, 1, or 6? By how many votes was our Tracy elected the cricket captain of Ambridge? She dethroned Harrison Burns. Was it by 2 votes, 1 vote, or 6 votes? Were you paying attention? What was the name of the partner that Tracy left to move in with her big sister Susan? Was it Den, Dom, or Dan? Who did she give the big heave-ho to? She kicked him to the curb. Was it Den, Dom, or Dan? Where do Tracy, Brad, and Chelsea live? This one's a deep cut. I'll be honest with you. I did not know this until today when I did a Google search. Number 6, the Green. Number 1, the Green. Or does Tracy live in the Laurels? There's your hubby, who I took out for a drink in San Francisco. So where does Tracy, hello, where does Tracy, Brad, and Chelsea live? Where do they live? Number 6, the Green. Number 1, the Green, or do they live at the Laurels? Who turned Tracy's eye in 2012? She had the hots for somebody. Pursued him, so she did. Was it Iftikhar Shah? Was it Will Grundy? I think if you've been paying attention today in this conversation, you know it's not Will Grundy. Or was it some random in the bull? So number 1, was it Iftikhar Shah, Will Grundy, or was it some random in the bull? When niece Emma needed help last year, what did Tracy do? Did she buy some of her furniture, sorry? Did she take her out on a night out in Felpersham? Or did she give her all of the money that she, Brad, and Chelsea had? Was it number 1? She bought some of Emma's furniture. Number 2, she took her for a night out, a girls' night out. Or 3, did she give her all of the money that she, Brad, and Chelsea had? There you go, folks. We will come back to these questions later. But Susie Riddell, you, considering you came in when you did, and there wasn't an awful lot of you during the Sean O'Connor years, the years of Helen and Rob. Yeah. You've become a fan favorite and you've had some great storylines. That first storyline was you turned up on the doorstep of your sister.
Yeah.
Take us back to that. It wasn't exactly your first time on set, was it? But did you and Charlotte talk before you did the scene? Because one of the lovely things about the relationship with you and Susan is that you feel there's a genuine warmth. So how did that start? How did that relationship start? Then tell us about that first scene.
Well, I think so. The first scenes I had were at their mum's wedding. Funeral,
oh, yes. Yeah.
A bit different. At mum's funeral. And so that I think I'd done a couple of episodes. I actually genuinely can't remember how long after that it was that she moved in with them. But I remember she turned up on the doorstep, and it was probably the end of an episode, wasn't it? It was a Dumteedum moment when the door was opened. Ding dong, yeah. Tracy. Yeah, I mean, I think Charlotte and I, when you know you're playing someone's sister, as soon as I met her, we kind of made sure we chatted, and it's always very exciting when you're going to be someone's family member. But also, we're both from Birmingham, and we've got a connection from where we're from.
Yeah, Harborne.
Yeah. So she actually lives really near my mum, and we hit it off. And I mean, she's lovely, as you know, because I know she's contributed a lot to Dumteedum. And we just got on. And I think those scripts were so full of fun and warmth. And it was really lovely, actually, the Tracy, Neil, Susan kind of triangle that was happening there, and Neil's kind of absolute exasperation with her. And they really brought Tracy to life in those first few months of her being around. She was in quite a lot actually in those ones, wasn't she? It was all the redecorate, getting Neil to redecorate as well, because they were so desperate to get her out of the house that Neil ended up doing all the redecoration, and Tracy was just like hanging around having a fag and going, I've got to go and pick up the kids. Thanks, Neil. Here, I'm having a beer. You can't have one. And then he helped to pick up her stuff as well. There were some really funny scenes with Neil. Actually, he's brilliant. He's brilliant, Brian.
It's obvious that you've got great comic timing. In your other acting roles, have you done a lot of comedy?
Yeah. yeah. I've done, I like the fun stuff. I don't really go for the rip your heart out stuff. I'm not really interested, to be honest. I'd rather just gurn and, you know.
But how can you gurn on the radio?
Oh, I'm gurning. Believe me. I mean, you've still got to go there. No, it's not quite as bad. I've played a lot. I've done a lot of theatre, comic theatre, and a lot of multi-role stuff and stuff that's fun. I just like playing, really. Yeah, just a massive child. But all actors are, as you all know. But yeah, the comedy stuff, it's lovely, and I don't know. I feel really lucky that I get to play Tracy. I have to say, I think she's a bit of a gift of a part. So I kind of thank my lucky stars, really.
As we've kind of said before, as I've said before, that I think you have to we really have to thank you. Obviously, there is the stuff on the page, but as I've said to you like on numerous occasions now when we've spoken, you know, us listeners know that you've completely and utterly played your way into this role and stuff.
I did not pay anybody, Royfield. I did not pay anyone. Do you want to be in it or not?
Are you still? I know that. I think we know that. It's 3 days of the month that. Let's take the COVIDs out of it. When the world when the world is on its normal axis, it's 3 days a month, isn't it?
What, the recording?
Yeah.
No, it's more than that. It's 9 days.
But
you wouldn't get it all done in 3.
No, sorry, I meant. But if you're an actor.
Oh yeah. Oh, you mean okay? I see.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah. It
could be one half of a morning a month.
Yeah.
I mean, it very much depends on what's going on with storylines. So you can have a really good run of it, and then, but you guys don't want to hear the same people all the time.
Well, there's definitely some characters we don't want to hear from again. That's just the truth.
I bet they're all different. I bet everybody's got a different character that they don't want to hear from.
No. I can think on behalf of the Dumteedummers, before I throw the mic out to them, right? And this is nothing against the actor, and in lots of ways, it's a tribute.
Don't tell me.
It's a tribute to the actor. But if you can play a character who people just go, it makes their blood boil, right? It says a lot about the actor that they and they're bringing a lot of nuance to it. But like Shula, nobody goes, oh yippee, Shula's on the mic, but she's an important character.
I like
in the construct of the show. She's not it in a way. Shula Hebden Lloyd is almost a listener anti-hero. That like people cheer when Lillian comes on. They go, oh yes, it's a bit of Lillian.
Yeah.
People cheer when Brian comes on. And Brian has had totally a checkered history as the character of Brian. But people go, yeah. People don't cheer when Shula or Helen. And And that is nothing against the acting chops of the actors. It's down to the brilliant writing and acting, you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, you couldn't say Helen was a top comedy character, but you know, with Brian, you're getting absolute class. He is, because you know, Charles Collingwood, he's a comedy genius. So I mean, Shula's not exactly Comedy Central, but I think she has a warmth. And like there's scenes with, I think with Freddie, with her and Freddie. I mean, God, I could listen to them. I just love that. I think it's just adorable. And I think Freddie as well as a character has kind of risen up in terms of irritability levels. Gone down in irritability.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
And I think that's testament to, and actually I think it's a process of growing up as well. And I think because I mean, Toby, who plays him, I don't actually know how old he is. He's not very old, but he's sort of matured, and so's Freddie, and that their relationship's just so.
No, you're right, and it's one of the things which I'm really become aware of is just how good some of the interrelationships actually are. We're all aware that there's three blokes that all live together, who's very much is the odd triumvirative.
Oh yeah.
Tell it correctly, but it works.
It's lovely.
It really works.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, and you are right that there was some really touching moments and were very believable between Shula and Freddie. So Susan.
So you haven't told me which character it was. You're not going to.
Nobody wants to hear Shula and Helen.
Oh, you said it was a mate. You said it was a man.
Did I? Oh, I don't know.
I thought you had.
I talk off the top of my head at the best of times. So don't hold me to what I said 10 minutes ago, because I've long forgotten. Okay. Couple of questions before we throw this out to the Dumteedum public. What was absolutely your favourite storyline to play? I loved you and Emma, you consoling Emma, and the fact that Emma could talk to you and actually not her mother, not her gossipy mother, your sister. That really, for me, that's when I really realized that, you know what, you're here to stay. You know, the character of Tracy's here to stay. You're not just a comic foil. You're not just the slightly flirty, jokey character. That there was real heart to Tracy. But what was your kind of favorite storyline? What was the storyline where you think, you know what, I did some good work? You know, you put down that microphone, left that sound recording studio and went, yeah, knock that one out of the park.
Yeah, because sometimes I go, oh no, I wish I could do it again. Oh God. Well, I did love those episodes with Emma, and because I felt it gave Tracy a depth that you hadn't seen before, and I think and that was really Jeremy's introducing Tracy back into as a more regular character, I suppose, as a more rounded character, and I was really grateful that he did that, and I think it felt truthful, that the relationship with Emma, which is kind of more a bit like sisters, really, because they are closer in age. They're quite close in age, I think, and because there's quite a gap between Tracy and Susan. So I did enjoy that, and Emerald is just so bloody brilliant that it's just always a joy to do a scene with her. I mean, I loved the fire. I love the explosion. I love that. That was so fun. Honestly, felt like I was in a Hollywood film.
Really?
Yeah. It was so exciting. And I didn't have to learn any lines. It was great. It was so exciting. And do you know how that was all done?
Oh, no.
Have you had any...
Please tell us.
Well, because it was so complicated from a sound perspective and also from a performance perspective. they dedicated 2 whole recording sessions to recording the one episode. So normally we'd have recorded 2 episodes in the time that it took to record that one episode, because it had to sound realistic. And the studio was covered in rubble and bits of metal, and one of the sound guys was dragging himself around the floor. And in turn for Toby playing Freddie, certainly it was a kind of a traumatic experience, because he had to really go somewhere, and to give it shape, and to really give it something as well vocally. But it was very exciting, and we had everybody, all the whole production team were in. I mean, does this ruin it for you though, if I tell you this?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Dare I say it? That's the reason why we all here on a Friday evening, to hear these insider tidbits.
So we had the whole production team in, because obviously you've got lots of guests in the hotel, all making noise as it happened. So everyone was having to pass in front of the microphone, either moaning, coughing, screaming, shouting. So everybody involved in the Archers is in that episode, really, somewhere. Apart from not all the cast, because that would have been ridiculous. Too many people. But it was really exciting, and we knew it was they were really exciting episodes, which was not, and that they were good and they were well written, and that were going to be a shock as well. So having that kind of, this is gonna. I know. No, I was reading the scripts, going, what? Because you don't get all the scripts; you only get the ones you're in. I didn't know if Linda was bloody dead or alive. I was crying. I was reading the script. Oh
wow!
I was like, what? I was texting everyone, going, have you got the next script? Can you tell me what happens? Sometimes I like to, if I'm in the green room and it's been a very exciting storyline, or there's an exciting episode, I ask somebody if I can read it. So, for example, the Grundy episode last year where Will had the shotgun. Obviously, I wasn't involved in that at all, but I did read it. Because it's so exciting. So so I really love I was really thrilled to be part of that, because it was kind of a momentous episode that people will remember. I hope. You haven't forgotten about it already.
Absolutely not, because our Linda was burnt to a crisp in it. So how can we forget? Right, folks, it's time.
I was going to say one other thing. I thought you guys would be interested, because I'm upstairs. I've got a load of scripts that were never recorded, and also some that were partially recorded. So scenes are recorded that you will never hear, and that makes me really sad. Some absolutely brilliant stuff, and some really funny things happening, and some really moving stuff, and some of it we didn't even get to do because we just had to leave this, we had to get out of there.
Well, we did speak to Kerry Davis last week, and I forgot to ask him if any of those old scripts can actually be brought back and repurposed, because it seems to me that no.
I just don't think it, because it's in sequence, it just wouldn't work. So for so you heard from Tracy that she got all this new kit. There's this brilliant scene where she storms into the men's changing room at the cricket with a massive bag and starts flinging new tops and caps and stuff around, and everyone's like, oh great, and Harrison and Chris are going, what's this? Vince Casey. And she's like, see you on the pitch, boys, and it's just great. You are Alistair, have a new cap. And
you did the voice. You did the voice.
I'll do it for a bit if you like, but I'm not meant to, I suppose. I don't know. I'm meant to or not, frankly. But Tracy wouldn't give.
I'll tell you what you are supposed to do is answer questions from the great Dumteedum public right? Because
Okay. Oh yeah,
they haven't just like, I was going to say paid their money. Most of them haven't paid any money at all, but they haven't turned up on a Friday just to hear me blather on. So if you have a question for Susie, now is the time for you to hold your hand up. Hello, Maria Taylor. Right, Pat Brown, coming to you after we do Mia Fox. Mia Fox, you're up.
Hi, Susie.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody just loves Tracy's character. Is fantastic. She's taken quite a left turn by getting the job at Grey Gables, or Gay Gables as we like to call it. Is there another character that you would like Tracy to have some interaction with that she hasn't already? Obviously, the relationship with Oliver is only because of the hotel, really. We wouldn't have put those two together. So is there any other character that you think that Tracy could really have a good few episodes with at some point?
Well, the characters I really love, I really love Kate. I think Perdita is absolutely amazing. She's another really comic. I mean, her comedy timing is just amazing. So, and there was that funny kind of team building exercise, and that was Tracy and Kate's only interaction, I think, thus far, apart from when there was the naming ceremony. So I think Kate and Tracy being stuck together somehow would be quite funny. And also, I just love Lillian. I love her. And Sunny always says she'd love to do some scenes with Tracy as well. So I don't know, sometime we could. I mean, more Oliver and more Linda for me. I love them. Oh God, it's just so great. When Tracy got the job at Grey Gables, I was just good. It was like winning the lottery. It was amazing. Like, I'm actually working in Grey Gables. I mean, I know I'm not Tracy, but I did feel like I actually got the job myself. I'm that invested in it. Yeah. Somebody on Twitter made me a badge. The Tracy Horrobin, receptionist, Grey Gables. Yeah. So I should get my own uniform. I might make a uniform and wear it next time we're in studio. It's a special. Yeah.
Just a quick final one. What do you think Tracy's face mask would look like?
Oh God. Oh, I don't know. Maybe some red lips. Maybe a beautiful mouth. I'm not sure. Or with a fag. A picture of a mouth with a fag coming out of it. That'd be good.
Like that. Thank you, Mia. Right, folks. I'm going back. I said I'd do Catherine Richards. Were you waving there? Hello, little one. No, you're shaking your head. Right. So I need to find Pat Brown. Pat Brown, where have you gone? Have I gone past you? Hello, Cheryl. You're in the dark there, Cheryl. Right. Oh, Quentin Rayner's waving, but I did say I'd come to Pat. Were you waving? There you are, Pat. So I found you. There you go. You're up.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you there, Pat? Yeah, go.
Can you hear me? It's lovely to see you, Susie. It's a real treat. One of your funniest lines, and I can't remember it exactly, but it was when you went to see Shula and you were genuinely frightened about the ghost at Grey Gables. And when you were reporting back to, I think it was to Susan, you referred to her as something like Saint Shula of the Archangels or some such. It's so brilliant. But I really want Shula to find out that, because she thought you were sending her up.
Yeah.
Which was really bad of her. She's supposed to want to be a vicar. You know, I want her to find out. And I'd love to hear that scene played out at some point.
Yes, yeah.
Quite funny. You really are opposites.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. It was sad.
It's been left dangling, and I don't like that.
It was kind of sad, wasn't it? Because she'd gone genuinely to ask her genuine opinion, and she was just told to. She actually told her to go away, didn't she? She was really. Yeah, I don't know. Where's that come from? from Shula.
Prejudice. She just didn't believe you.
Didn't believe, but yeah, class prejudice. But
I think so.
yeah, I think actually it would be nice to have. Yeah, they've never. Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of people who go. There's lots of scenes where people go, "Oh, Tracy did that." I mean, even Kirsty did it not long ago, because Tracy had printed out some feedback or something that she'd got, that the Kirsty had got, and said, "You can use this. It's really nice feedback from that end party. You can use it as ammo for your next."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Kirsty was like, "Oh, you know what? Tracy's all right, isn't she?" It's like, yes, she is. Why can nobody see this? What? Someone, I was doing something. I was doing a concert for. I was narrating. I was dressed as a fairy, narrating a classical concert for kids. Pre-lockdown. It was January time, February time, and a lady came up to me at the end and said, "Are you in the Archers?" And I was like, yeah. She said, "Oh, you play Tracy? Oh, she's nasty." And I was like, "Oh, I don't think she is." "Okay, thanks then, bye." And she said, "Oh, you know what I mean." And I was like, "Not really." But I think it's just that weird thing that people have with Tracy. They think she's really awful. Some people do. Some people think she's really awful. But I suppose that's like any character, isn't it? Some people think it. Anyway, I'm waffling now.
I think she's common. You know,
Common.
I think she's common.
Yeah.
Well,
but we all love her, so don't worry about that.
We do. Thank you for your question, Pat. And just before I go on to the next, I was going to say caller innerer, the next Zoomer innerer. Hello, Melly. I'm coming to you, Danielle. I can see your hand up. Don't worry. And then we're going to go to Quentin and you, Dusty. I'm going to get you all in. Susie, I spoke to Graham Seed, who plays Nigel, a couple of weeks ago. We all spoke to him, I should say. And William Smethurst, who was the script editor when he came into the show, made a quote, and the quote was that The Archers is a gentle comic slice of British society and of British class society. And when I read that, I was like, yes, right. Me banging on about class every week on Dumteedum, it's writ large into the DNA. And so characters like Tracy are as important as Freddie or as Nigel in terms of understanding Britain. They're two kind of, dare I say, polar opposites and stuff, and everybody else kind of comes in between. But it's written into the DNA of the show. So people's reactions to the characters, it's kind of baked in as to where you sit on the kind of social spectrum. Right. I'm coming to you, Quentin Rayner. You're up. Stop writing, sir. I saw you. Pay attention.
I wasn't writing then, actually, but
well, you weren't looking at the screen. Go on, Quentin, ask your question.
Hi, Susie. Hi, Susie. Lovely to see you this evening. I'm not quite sure what I imagined, actually. One pictures the actors in a certain way, and you're a revelation, a lovely revelation. So nice to see you, Susie. Something you Royfield touched on, and you've slipped into the voice. So can I just ask you about that? I was just wondering where you got Tracy's voice from, because thankfully it sort of lacks the adenoidal whining of your sister Susan and Niece Emma's elastication of every vowel. So I'm wondering how you found that voice, because you slip into it very easily.
Well, when they offered me the role, I said, obviously, you're Susan Carter's sister. So I started listening to Susan over and over, and I think I'm going to have to sound like her, which I actually think Emma does. I think Emerald does a really good job of taking the way Charlotte speaks as Susan and moulding it to Emma. I think you can tell their mum and daughter. And for me, I was like, I can't sound like her. I mean, partly because it would end up being an impersonation. And I think, and also I was like, I have 3 characters kind of sounding quite similar. So I just kind of I listened to her, Susan, I listened to Neil, because I knew those were the characters that I would be working with predominantly, at least at the beginning. And I also took what I knew of her kind of as a character and her background, and I suppose I sort of wanted to rough her up a bit. She's needs to be a bit rough around the edges. So it just kind of came from there, really. And I tried to get that kind of that Ambridge twang. I mean, I don't think. I think she was in different circles to Susan. She's also a lot younger, so they wouldn't have been hanging around with the same people. And I think, God, me and my brothers don't sound at all alike. They're very brummy. Occasionally I am, but not. We've hung around with different people, and yeah, I don't know. It just kind of, and then I had to do it, and then I had to, and also from reading the lines and going over the lines and coming to the conclusion. I was very nervous the first episode. I was thinking, God, I mean, I don't sound exactly like Susan. And then I said that to the director, and they were like, look, if you all sounded the same, it'd be bloody awful. So don't worry about it. And it's a
relief that you don't, because I think it needs that distinction. But there's a nod towards them, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. Especially when they're together, I think you can. I hope that there's a slight similarity.
I mean, you rattle off your lines very quick fire. That's the nature of Tracy. Do you read them off the script, or do you have to learn them because they're so quick fire?
You have to know. I mean, I don't learn them, but I am very familiar with them. Yeah, and you're right. It kind of, especially if it's a gag line, because they do write them for Tracy, and I think it has to sound natural, and and I do tend to talk very quickly in real life, as you may have. And it is something I have to watch. I am told sometimes to slow down. There's a little bit. So
it's a combination of it's a combination of learning them and also reading them. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think it's a real familiarity with them, and the advantage of being able to read it is that you can play around with it a bit more, because you're not having to desperately try and remember them. I mean, I've never been a regular character in a television soap, for example. I mean, that must be hard, I think, to learn all those lines off by heart, and to keep it fresh. Because if you're desperately trying to remember something, you're not going to be performing it very well.
One quick final question, Susie: is Tracy any good at cricket?
Oh, yes, she's bloody brilliant. I mean, I actually looked out. I don't know. I think my daughter's nicked it. I looked out my England cricket cap earlier, because I thought I could wear that as a kind of joke when I came on screen. Like, she's conquered Ambridge. Next stop.
Quentin, thank you for some
brilliant
questions. All right, so who was next up? Because I've forgotten who I said was next up. Dusty, are you? Yeah, we can do you. There you go. Let me. I'm trying to. There you go.
Hi, Susie. Good to see you.
Thank you.
When you were saying about the scripts that you got upstairs that had to be jettisoned, I was thinking, when normality returns, in whatever form normality is after all this, do you think you'll have a pile of scripts of the monologue versions that you won't use, and you'll think, oh, I really wanted to do those, or will you just be desperate to get back in the studio with the others?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I haven't really thought about that, because of course we don't know. It's just like when we're going into lockdown, we don't really know when when they're going to be able to say, yeah, you can go back into the mailbox, and they're obviously, they are talking about it and working out how it could work. But but yeah, they're having to write ahead. I didn't think about that at all. Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, because things, you're able to do things with this format that you couldn't do in the usual format. So yeah, maybe. And it's a particular, I don't know, I felt particularly sad about the scenes that have already been recorded. That felt kind of really odd, that because you've lived that moment, you've done that, and then and it's just not happened. And there was just some lovely things. There was some really nice stuff with Linda and Tracy, and I'm really sad that didn't get recorded, but maybe Linda and Tracy will be together again.
Well, they'd better be. Thank you, Dusty. I'm going to give a quick shout out to people who are watching on YouTube right now. So I
didn't even know it was going to be on YouTube.
No, we're streaming live on YouTube.
Live on YouTube. I was like, what?
Ruth Pearl, special shout out to you. Lady Dragonbane and Peachy Lane are just three of the people who are watching on YouTube and are chat and leaving some voice chats, and they said that yes, they agree that Freddie was great in that episode. All right, so we're going to have a couple more questions before we wrap this up. So I'm looking through. So if you want to ask your question, please wave so you get my attention. There was somebody who said they wanted to ask a question, and I've forgotten who that is. Are you waving? Is everybody waving? Was everybody happy? It was like, I've had enough of you, Royfield, blathering on.
Dave Harding, did you wave?
Oh, okay.
No?
Nelly.
No, he didn't wave.
I saw you waving. And there you go. You're
Hello.
up.
Hello.
It's just a question in terms of, obviously you sound very different from the character you portray, and as somebody who has, I live in Scotland, I've got a very different life from a lot of people, but I wonder if you feel that they are using Tracy as a stereotype with like her children's names and the way she screeches at them. I just feel that we've got at least two single parents. We've got Tracy and we've got Helen, who's all like organic and like no bloody Halloween. I'm wondering how you feel about that juxtaposition and how they portray it and how that relates to people that maybe don't expect to listen to the actors but do.
Interesting.
On the spot.
And I am Scottish, by the way, in real life.
Really?
I
knew your Tracy accent.
I was born in.
Accent is great. Your English one is even better.
I'm born in Aberdeen to Scottish parents, but we yes. And I actually do. I'm not going to do it because if I do a Scottish accent now, it will be awful, and you'll just go, "Oh, shut up." But I do a lot of Scots recording and audio books and stuff. But anyway, that's by the by. I think Tracy, basically, the shouting at her kids. I mean, I don't know who on here has children. Yeah, I mean, God, they're only little, but.
Mine are huge.
Are they? I'm anticipating
my little grown-ups.
Are they? Not.
And I hear like obviously I've done the whole gamut of it, but I hear Tracy dealing with teenagers, whereas I hear Helen dealing with
oh yeah.
Do you know? And
she needs to shout at them more. She needs to shout at them more. I mean, what? Yeah.
If I shut up and you're not getting a biscuit.
If I didn't shout at my kids, or threaten them, or it's full bribery. I mean, nothing would get done. I just channel myself basically when I'm shouting at, and I dread to think. My daughter's 5 and she's already given me the back chat.
Good luck.
Oh my God! And Henry is going to be massive. My little boy's called Henry, not named after Henry Archer.
No way.
but he's definitely got the he looks like he's going to be a rugby boy. I mean, he looks chunky. He looks massive.
Second child syndrome. But can you see how the way that the script writers write it, there's definitely a class division on how lone parents parent, and I love the Archers. Well, but that I find
yeah, I think with single, and I can understand that. And there's often a lot of what's Tracy's out again. Who's looking after her kids and that kind of thing. But the thing with her kids, you haven't heard them.
No,
and I wonder if they will, because they're getting to an age where you could have.
Seriously, we've been listening to Henry for a long time.
Yeah. I think once you get to kind of age, because they're like 15 and 13 now, once you're getting to that point, you can have young actors playing, young adults, even people in their 20s who can do young voices play them. So I'm wondering if they'll get them in. I think there is a sense of maybe showing Tracy is a bit lax, and but I also think that sometimes it's what we as listeners listen to or put on things, because we fill in the gaps a bit, don't we? We have to, because you don't hear everything.
You've got Elizabeth with Freddie and Lily. So Lily is in this utterly inappropriate relationship, and Freddie has been for drug use,
and he went
But then we've got, so it's a very privileged and financially supported family.
Yeah.
What they're missing is taking your family and saying, do you know what, actually that can be different.
Yeah, and I think there have been hints of so there were two things recently. This is why I think I'm wondering whether they will get these Brad and Chelsea in as to speak.
Sorry, one of my teenagers is trying to sneak around the other side of the dining table.
He didn't do a very good job. We all saw him.
Just the whole table get moved because they're really tall. Right,
is he loving lockdown? I'm feeling very sorry for all the teenagers.
They are loving lockdown because they are non-binary. So
okay.
Don't use it. Loads of people will be shocked.
Okay. No.
Anyway, they are not loving lockdown quite.
No, I mean, when you're a teenager, you just want to see your friends. That's what I just kept thinking.
I also can't travel.
Dishan wants to travel.
I tell you what, you Bear have just overtaken the whole broadcast. This is amazing.
So I just need to say that I feel that there's this social imbalance.
Yeah, I hear you, and I
children.
What I hope is that they will get Brad and Chelsea in, and I think Tracy has said a few things recently about. She said that Chelsea was bullied in year 8, which we didn't know about before. And I was thinking, well, obviously Tracy got that supported her and got her through that, and she's come through that. And Susan, because Susan does it as well, doesn't she? She's a bit of, well, your kids, and Tracy's like, excuse me, Brad and Chelsea are doing fine, thank you very much. So yes, I think she's aware of it as well, and I'm glad. I hope that there's some development of that, because I think you're right, and I think single mums.
Do you get the feeling Royfield wants us to shut up?
No. Listen, no, I was marveling at the pair of you getting on like busy mates. That's not the point I was making. I felt I was going to kick back, go and have a mug of cocoa and just like relax the Melly and Susie show. It was all good. We're going to have one last question, because it is now 10 o'clock, folks, and it's to Mr. Bear, my favourite bear, who is somewhat a little bit of a yokel. So here you go, sir. You are up.
Hello, Susie. How are you?
Hello, nice to see you.
It's not so much a question. It's just to let you know something that I think Tracy Horrobin has really made it. And what I mean by that was that in a phone call to my mum this week, she actually said, because she's an Archers listener as well, and she said, I'm really getting to like Tracy Horrobin, and for my mother, that is high praise indeed. And I just sat there thinking, oh my God, Tracy's achieved something I've never been able to achieve. But I think what it made me think is just the kind of universal appeal of Tracy, that, you know, there's something there for everyone. And believe me, my mum, the only characters my mother has ever loved in the Archers are Peggy, Jill and Shula. So I think you're helping my mother with some personal growth there.
That is good. That is good. Oh, that's lovely. We'll say hello to her from me and Tracy.
I certainly will do. Yes.
I do kind of.
All right, folks. I'm so sorry. Danielle.
Sorry it's so late as well.
Was it you, Danielle, that wanted to ask a question? Just wave if you did. Daniel, is it going to be quick? Is it quick?
I'll be quick.
All right, brilliant. All right, Danielle, there you go. I'm trying to unmute you. Unmute yourself, Danielle, because I can't for some strange reason.
No, that's absolutely fine. I don't need to ask any questions. I could do, but I just want to say it's late. Thank you to everybody. And it's a wonderful internal suggestion for people, isn't it? Bye. Oh, is that it?
We're not quite going yet. We got to have the results of the quiz, Danielle.
Okay. Oh, you got
don't just sign off just yet.
All right. My question is, it's interesting, isn't it? The internal dialogues with everyone through the week, and how we don't really do internal dialogue, but maybe we should do, because this whole session has been wonderful and fantastic, and part of an internal dialogue. Do you think, or not?
Oh, well, this kind of. What do you mean?
Oh, okay. Let me.
Sorry.
Let me. It's interesting. Okay. Let me kind of. How you yourself are more yourself in the kind of your expression, and it shows such a lot of your personality.
Yeah. I know what you mean. So,
personality that is allowed to, set free. That's it, really.
Oh,
well, I wasn't expecting to be put on the pitch, and then I just
you know what? Sorry, Danielle, completely my fault. I misconstrued you had a bit of a hand movement about 20 minutes ago, and I took that to be a wave saying you wanted to jump on. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel.
But thank you for your question about, and I think if I understood it, it was the power of internal monologues, which fundamentally can be a very cathartic and healing thing if we all construct our thoughts and had string through dialogue. Now, folks, it's the answers to the Dumteedum quiz. So that's where we're going now. You're all awaiting. You're like, Royfield, come on. I want to have that accolade of being the Dumteedummer who scored the most on the quiz this week. And remember, folks, we start with the picture round. Now, this one is such a gimme. This is easy.
Yeah.
The most famous book by Rudyard Kipling, a poem, is If, Cup of Tea, There's a Car, Ifty Car. That one was, I gave that to everybody. Now, Tracy Riddell, have you figured out who this is?
Yeah, I got it.
I called you Tracy Riddell.
I know,
sorry, Susie. Sorry.
It's similar. Well, I got it from the bin because I was like, Quasimodo? What? Paper Modo? What? But then I was like, bin. And because you said say what you see, I think I'd be pretty good at that catchphrase program, actually. I'd love to do that.
Exactly. Tracing paper.
It's good, but it's not right. So it's Tracy Horrobin.
Nosferatu, one of the most famous horror films of all time, one of the first ones, which is a classic, and of course a bin. And I must admit, I thought long and hard about the bin liner because I thought it's going to give it away, but
it did.
Here we are. So if anybody has not got the first two, right?
Yeah.
Close down your Zoom connection now and go to bed because the first two were so easy. So easy. Third one, a little bit more abstract, right? What do we see here? There's a cow.
Yeah.
There's another cow on a flag. Now, if you know your geography, and people know that I love geography, there's a county. Now, if you like football, there's a football team. Then there is a map. If everybody looks at that map rather closely, the center city is Hereford. These are Herefords. These are the cows at Brookfield. These are all Herefords. That is a Hereford cow. That is the flag of the city of Hereford. Then we have the map of Hereford in England. That's Hereford United. And then in the middle, it says Hereford. These are all Herefords. This is the herd at Brookfield.
That's very,
Right,
good.
impressive.
Did anyone get it? Did anyone get it?
No.
Now, Susie, you're going to know all of these, aren't you, Susie?
I hope so.
All right. What year did Susie, not Tracy, but Susie first appear on The Archers? What's the answer?
Number 3.
Yay.
1989, because he used to be Kate Aldridge.
Weird.
You are now the cricket captain of Ambridge. How many votes did you win the election by?
1.
Was it 1?
It was 1.
Yeah,
yes.
I was worried I wasn't going to get that right. It was probably Jolene. It was Jolene, wasn't it?
The answer is 1. What was the name of your partner who you left to move in with Susan?
Den.
It was Den. Where do you live, Susie? Is it number 6, the Green, number 1, the Green, or do you live in the Laurels with the old people?
6, isn't it?
It's number 6, the
Yeah,
Green,
yeah.
which I did not know until today. Oh, where's my cursor gone? Here it is. Who turned your eye in 2012?
Well, probably some random in the ball.
Or some random in the ball.
But it was all 3. It was Ifty.
It was Ifty Carr.
Ifty Carr.
And what did you do to help your niece Emma when she needed help last year? Can you remember?
Well, she wanted to take her on a night out. She did buy something. Didn't she buy her brandy glasses or something like that? And then she gave her all the money. She collected together money with Brad and Chelsea.
Here's the thing. I'd completely forgot that you actually did buy something.
But it wasn't furniture. It was like a set of glasses or something. So. But
I remembered that you wanted to take her out for a night out, but Emma said no. So the answer that I was going for was you gave her all of your money, which is 200 and odd quid. It
was £340 and 40 pence, something like that.
Exactly. However, we'll accept 1 or 3 then, shall we? To be fair. If anybody's put number 1, you can have that as well. Now, folks, we're going to go on to group share. Oh, we have a couple of people, total late stragglers coming in, literally for about the last 2 minutes of the show.
Oh God, what are they going to do?
There were 10 answers there, right? Anybody get all 10? Right, Francesca Word Salad is saying no, not me. No, so nobody got 10. Any advances on 9? Oh, come on. I thought these were...
I got 9.
This week. I'm disappointed in a lot of you. iPad, you're waving. Are you saying that you got 9 or you got 9? iPad got 9. Props to you, iPad. You're coming on mic. I'm unmuting you or unmute yourself. There you go, iPad. Who are you, iPad? We can't hear you, iPad. Let's go back. You're talking, but you don't want to talk. Okay.
Fair enough.
Oh, but you got to revel. You got to bask in your glory.
You can do the old. Woo.
Yeah, well, you know what?
That's the Zoom celebration.
Cheryl, nice to see you, Cheryl. Right, so we're back on Speak of You, everybody. iPad did well. She got 9. I think anybody who got less than 8, hang your head in shame and go listen to another docudrama because you haven't been paying proper attention.
That's harsh.
Easy. Susie Riddell, thank you for being part of our Friday night entertainment. I'm going to unmute everybody, and everybody is going to show you their appreciation. Big round of applause, please.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was really nice. Really fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
As always, Susie, you've been a total star, and we need to get you back on, because you actually co-hosted the show with me at one point last year, didn't you?
That was fun. Yeah, I really like that.
We're going to have to do that again very soon. Cool. But again, thank you for giving up your time on a Friday, because I know you've got better things to do, but you thought, you'll help out Dumteedum. Next week, folks, we have Anya, who played Lexi, and then the week after that, we have Ian, who plays Roy Tucker, who you'll know that I've been saying,
what a treat,
Roy Tucker, and he's going to come on and tell us the points. That's 2 weeks' time. We're going to be back at 7 o'clock, so no more 8:45s.
Yeah, sorry.
It's totally fine, Susie. Everybody understands you have other things to do.
I do, children.
7 o'clock next week. It will be
sorry
with
white chocolate milk.
Thanks, Melly.
Us. We're talking to Anya, who played Lexi. So if you've got any questions, formulate them now, ruminate over them for the next week, and then you can pose them next week when Anya comes on Dumteedum does Zoom. See you all, everybody. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Roy.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Thank you.